Good evening and welcome to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. I am Ryan Magnuson and I'm now joined by head coach Mike Castellano. And coach, before we start off this show like we normally do, I know you wanted to say a couple things.
First, I want to send condolences out to Panther Creek and Lori Yost and her family. Today we reached out to Coach Crocker and gave our condolences on their loss. Our Creek Crazies last week showed a lot of class and had signs up in her honor and hopefully praying for the best outcome that could happen. And we're sorry that they lost her today. I know it affected a lot of people there. The second is, I know we announced it to the team, and I'm not sure it's been announced to everybody, but this week our honorary head coach is Sean Horton from Westlake Middle School and his struggles and battles. So if you can, Ms. Marcheski's been doing things, trying to get some fundraising money involved and do some things to buy the bracelets. And I believe they're selling some of the T-shirts as well. So if you get an opportunity to say something to Sean, I know he'd greatly appreciate it. And I just kind of wanted to point that out before we started the show. So if anybody had any questions or wanted to help or do anything they could, hopefully tonight you can reach out and find a way to do that.
Yeah, we appreciate you bringing that up. So to jump into things here, Middle Creek coming off a 56-28 win over Wakefield this past Friday to move the Mustangs to 4-0. Coach, this game kind of got back and forth there for a little while. You know, how did you assess this performance?
I thought we played well early on in spurts. The defense, I thought, came out and did a lot of good things. Offense started slow but kind of picked it up at that point moving forward. And then the third quarter kind of flipped. Our offense was really going all cylinders, and our defense was struggling, and we had a special teams mishap as well. So, it was a game where we kind of continued afterwards talking about playing consistent, and that's something you want to do. And as you move forward every game, you want to improve, but do it the whole entire game.
Let's go ahead and jump into some highlights. I know there's probably a few in there.
Yeah, Coach Wilkes picked out, I believe, 7. I tried to get him to do 4 or 5, but he did more. This is the first third down right here, and we call a zone blitz off the edge, and Alex Sutton creates a fumble, and Anthony Mitchell recovers it. As you watch a tight cop, and Anthony Mitchell does a good job of stunting inside from the right end, drawing a double team, which clears it up for his buddy. At that point, Anthony doesn't stop playing. He reaches out and recovers the football. That was a big play that set up the score. Here, Luke Gray on a blitz forces a quarterback step up, and Anthony Mitchell has one of his multiple sacks on the game. As you look at this angle, you can see the quarterback step up. Anthony's the right end, takes on the guard, continues to work, beats a double team, and had a big-time sack there for us. This is a punt that we get a good job, Michael Rubino, of pinning it down there. We call this backboard. We have guys designated to run to the goal line, try to down it. Evan gets it. I believe it was on the 4, and he came over all upset and said, "Coach, should have been on the 1. I'm sorry." I said, "Evan, we'll take it on the 4. It's kind of neat how it plays out. The very next highlight is the next play. It allows us to have great field position. At this point, now we call blitz. They create a fumble. I love York Sands. They're arguing it should have been a touchdown for our defense, but we get the fumble recovery, and the very next play we score an offense. So it's 2 turnovers or special teams plays that led to 14 points in that situation. All right, the next play here, make sure I got it. The next play here is Brendan Weinberg. We worked a lot on pass coverage, and he does a good job of dropping to the field. He picks it off. Luke stumbles over somebody, so accidentally blocks him. Terry blocks their quarterback, and as we said to Brendan afterwards, "Brendan, have you scored yet?" But he did get there. And you can see this angle here. You can see Terry Patterson, after Brendan picks it off, right there, turns around, sees the ball's picked off. First thing he does is try to get out in front of him, blocks the quarterback. Luke stumbles. And I believe Blake right there is escorting him in, and Brendan gets a touchdown. And we talk all the time about scoring on defense, and that was a big play for us as well. This is Brant with a touchdown pass, Rasheem Eaton. I'm going to ask somebody later on if Brant can throw the ball downfield. But he throws one right here. It's Rasheem Eaton over the top. It's a great throw, catching the back of the end zone. Yes, that was for you, James. So here you can see the protection from our OL, and Brant does a good job of stepping up, buying time, and making a good throw for us. I enjoyed it at the end here, too. These guys don't get a lot of credit, but you watch our offensive line. Once the ball's out, you can watch those guys. You see their excitement when the ball's caught, and they start running downfield to celebrate with their teammate. This is a guy that I think I benched in the middle of the summer every day, kicked him out of workouts and all that good stuff. And once we finally got him to show up and play football, he's done okay. He leads the SWAC in interceptions. This was his third of the game. Uric Sands with a great pick. Does a good job of understanding coverage. Shouldn't have chased the first guy in as far as he did, but does a good job of boxing the guy out. And after 3 years of being together, he started to get really good at the techniques we work on. Obviously, he doesn't get all the credit, though. You can see Alex Sutton again coming off the edge. We get, Anthony gets double teamed. Sutton comes off the edge. Should have had a sack, but makes the guy move out of the pocket, and that helps Uric get the interception. All right, there you go.
Yeah, so, as we can see here, we scored a touchdown on the ground. We had a pick six and a few touchdown passes from Brant. And that was really one of the best games I've seen Brant play. What did you think about his performance?
I thought he played well. He started maybe a tad bit slow, but I thought he played well. We had a lot of drop balls. I won't say somebody's name, but his dad's back there, had 7 catches with 2 drops. One was been a long touchdown. But Brant does a great job. He's consistent. He's a guy that comes to work every day and puts his time in. And I think sometimes he gets overlooked because he's not going to go on Twitter and run his mouth. He's not going to be out there talking about, I'm this kind of guy or that kind of guy. He does everything you ask him to do as hard as he can. He's a really good football player.
Yeah, so 4 games in, going into conference, where is this team's overall progression right now?
I'll tell you after Friday's game. Each week it's a new week. We've got to execute every week. We're going to play a good football team this week, so we'll see how we do.
And I know you talked a little bit about Uric Sands. We're going to be talking to him later tonight, as well as Austin Ludwig. Can you talk about those two a little bit?
Yeah, they're both really good kids. They come from great families. Austin's a guy that he's a very intellectual guy. He's involved with a ton of clubs, and just we used to laugh and we said, how do we have a linebacker who's built like a 40-year-old man? And we used to give him a hard time all the time about it. But he's worked really, really hard to be a very good football player, be a smart football player. He's excited about everything he does, so it's a lot of fun being around Austin. And then you get Uric Sands. He showed up one day when his dad was talking, and I was trying to figure out where he's from. He said, "Yeah, I'm from the Bahamas. I'm a principal in the Bahamas." So I said, "That's kind of weird," but gotten to meet his mom and his family over the years. And Uric's a guy, he always likes to be in the center of attention. Not that he wants attention, but he likes to be excited and run around and have a good time. But he's a guy. He's one of the most polite guys you're going to meet. He has phenomenal grades, and we're happy right now. He's playing the best football he's ever played.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us for our first segment here. That's going to do it for our first segment. You're watching the Sports Block from Ruckus Pizza. We'll be right back.
Drugs them all.
And kick is up. That's an absolute drill into the back of the end zone.
You're watching the Sports Blog.
He one block,
And he just drugs them all.
and another two. And kick is up. That's an absolute drill into the back of the end zone.
You're watching the Sports Blog.
He one block,
And he just drugs them all.
and another two. And kick is up. That's an absolute drill into the back of the end zone.
You're watching the Sports Blog.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block, live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. And we are now joined by quarterbacks coach Mike Williams. Coach, thank you for joining us tonight.
Good to be back. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a very special segment because we still got Coach Castellano up here, too.
I couldn't pass up the opportunity to talk to Coach Williams.
Yeah, of course. So, Coach, could you just start off by telling us a little bit about what you do with the quarterbacks on a daily basis and where that group is right now?
Yeah, so the primary job with that is to basically help them develop and be the kind of player that we need them to be. I'm very fortunate, I'd say we're very fortunate that we have some very talented kids that want to play the position. And it's basically just established with them basically good mechanics, good feet, and then most importantly of all, good decision making, because that's the critical thing on the field. And
Exactly.
all the guys we have at that position are just awesome to work with. And it's a very fun offense to work in.
Yeah, for sure. Could you talk a little bit about Brant's progression this year, where he's at right now, and then also, compared to last year too?
Well, I'll say this. I think Brant is the best athlete I've ever seen at that position in a high school setting. And he's developed quite nicely. He's still got a lot of headroom, still got a lot of room to improve. We need to get off to a little bit quicker start sometimes. But in terms of picking it up and learning it, he's done just an awesome job. And right behind him, we have a guy running at number 2 who happens to be his brother. But Hunter's doing a great job for us. In fact, some of the coaches have told me in practice they can't necessarily tell the difference of who just threw the ball unless they see who threw it when the ball's in the air. So we got a solid number 2 coming up. And then we got some young guys on the JV that are soaking it up and coming up that learning curve. That learning curve takes a little while. As you might expect, there's an awful lot that goes on. Anybody that wants to criticize that position, I'd invite them to come on out to practice, and we'll let you get back there and have a bunch of big guys coming at you and try to figure it out. It ain't easy.
Yeah, definitely. That was going to be one of my questions, which you pretty much answered, was the younger guys at the position, the JV, quarterbacks. So, are you working with these guys in the same way that you do at the varsity level, or is it a different kind of approach?
Yeah, as much as I can, and everybody's at a different stage. So it kind of goes through a certain level of things that you can introduce at certain points in time. Mm-hmm. And then as they develop further and they're ready for it, you give them a little bit more information, a little bit more responsibility, and then kind of gauge it with that. So it's individual. There's basic concepts and fundamentals that are universal across the board, but then each athlete's a little bit different. So the art of the coaching is to give the right thing to the right guy at the right time.
Mm-hmm. And did you lay out any goals or expectations for your guys at the start of the year?
That's a good question. I've done that before, and when you start talking about some of those goals, and you can set goals that are statistically based and do this and do that, but you don't really want to get too caught up in that because there's only so much you can control in terms of what the stats are going to be. And in our offense, there's no telling what's going to happen because this is such a fun offense, and Coach Bordeaux does a great job. If you want to take away the running game, we'll throw the football. If you want to do something else, we'll throw it, we'll run it, we'll screen it. And what's interesting is you guys watch these games. When we run these screens, your eyes are going to be attracted to the ball. But take a look at the linemen. They do a terrific job for us in the run game and an amazing job in the screen game of getting out on those screens and getting blocks. So sometime when it looks like, oh, here comes that screen, don't follow the ball. Watch the linemen get out there and the angles that they take and how they set up those blocks, and it's like they're dancing out there. It's amazing to see.
Coach Castellano, you got your quarterback's coach on the spot here. Anything you want to ask?
I've been looking forward to this for a while, Coach. I'm not going to lie. First thing,
help me, guys.
I've got to know, what in the world are you talking about when you say 0?
0. Great question. So that deals with the fundamental mechanic of where you position the elbow. It's going to be approximately 45 degrees. 6 inches above the shoulder line so that you can extend on the throw.
Okay, that answered a whole staff on that one. The next is, who would you compare Brant to that you've seen play before?
Good question. The first guy that pops into my mind is Boomer Esiason. I don't know if any of you guys remember Boomer, but Boomer was an absolute beast. He was also a lefty. He was also blonde. I don't know if he liked to fish and play guitar like Hunter does. Like Brant does. I think Brant would be just as happy to do that as anything else sometimes, but nothing wrong with that.
Okay, one more question. Where did you play at?
I played high school ball in Tallahassee, Florida, and played college ball at University of Central Florida.
Okay.
Right on.
And one question I asked our staff, and we've been wondering, one question that everybody wanted to ask Coach Williams, and to a man, they all wanted to know one thing. What in the world do you put in your hair to make it look that good?
I just kind of wake up and look at it and go, that'll work, and off I go.
Told you, Coach Trump, he wouldn't
That's
answer.
it. That's all I do.
Last question for you, Coach. Apex coming up here on Friday. What do you expect to see from that defense?
Oh, yeah, boy, this is the kind of game you gotta love.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the games where you pretty much know you got it in hand. I mean, it's fun to go out there and you kind of got it in hand. But this game has significant element of risk in the sense that they're a good football team,
Mm-hmm.
and if we don't show up and bring an A game, they can take it to us.
Yeah.
So I actually look forward to that level of competition because it's going to hang in the balance for a little while, and we're going to have to execute. We're going to have to step up our game. We're going to have to cut out a few things offensively have been slowing us down, a silly penalty here by this guy or that guy, and every player is going to have to decide that they're going to do their job and that we're going to cut some of those little mistakes out, and we're going to start to grow this offense into what we need it to be, and it's going to start on Friday night.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us again, Coach Williams. You're watching the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza. We'll be right back.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week, and my favorite's the food though.
Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
All right,
thin
enough
New York
about the
crust.
big pizza. Seriously, I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza.
He one block.
Oh! Shrugs them off!
And he makes another two. And kick is up. That's an absolute drill into the back of the end zone.
You're watching the Sports Blog.
He one block.
Oh! Shrugs them off!
And he makes another two. And kick is up. That's an absolute drill into the back of the end zone.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block, live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. We are now joined by senior defensive back York Sands. York, thank you for joining us tonight, sir. Your coach gave us a little preview on you tonight before you came up, and we heard that you're leading the conference in interceptions. How do you feel about that so far?
I feel like I owe most of it to my teammates because I go back and I look at film on it and I see that all the other receivers were being covered by somebody else that was doing their job on the defense, and he had to throw the ball to somebody, and it just happened to be me.
So take us through that interception against Wakefield and what happened there.
Pretty much I saw the second receiver run flat down the field, and when the ball left his hand, my safety ran underneath, and I had another safety that went over the top like he was supposed to, and I just undercut the route like I was taught in practice.
So when a play like that is developing, how much of that are you really thinking through, and how much of that is instinct?
It's pretty much a split decision whenever you are in that moment. Is you see ball, you go get it. That's pretty much how it is.
What did you think when you realized you were in the wrong position on that play? And if you didn't make that play, you'd have probably been benched.
I was just thinking, get there as fast as I can.
Okay.
See, that's the question that you normally would not have gotten.
Yes, on that play, that
So
guy's not
that's-
supposed to go where on you?
Outside.
Okay.
We make this little 101 session there, too,
Right.
yeah. So, York, where do you think this defense is as a whole right now going into the conference season?
As a whole, we're definitely a lot better than where we were when we started. We still have a lot of growing up to do as far as talking and pretty much getting better, like gelling together. But I feel like we have each other's back and we go out there and we play hard, and hopefully it'll be a good outcome.
So do you have any future plans after Middle Creek?
After Middle Creek, hopefully I go on to play college ball. If I don't, I would like to go on to study aerospace engineering.
Okay.
What's your favorite part of playing football?
My favorite part of playing football, I'd have to say, is winning. Everybody loves to win.
Good answer.
Okay. What did you think this summer when you were demoted for your lack of execution?
It was a pretty tough time for me, honestly. At that time, I didn't really think that I guess I could be demoted. But after it really happened, I came back down to earth. I saw how all my other teammates were playing, and I realized that I had to step it up.
What have you learned the most from playing football in your life?
I've learned that everything happens for a reason, and it can be taken away from you. As quick as that.
Okay.
Another good answer. So we got another big game here coming up on Friday. What kind of things are you looking for from the Apex offense?
They like to pass a lot. Usually in the past years they were more of a running team, but they have a few athletes now that they have on their roster, and apparently they like to throw a lot more this year. So I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, being a cornerback, I like to make a lot of plays on the ball. Hopefully they go our way and we're able to come out with a win.
Definitely. Well, thank you for joining us, York. We'll see you on Friday. You're watching the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is a Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza. We'll be right back.
You're watching the Sports Blog.
He one block.
And he just shrugs them off.
And he makes another two. And kick is up. That's an absolute drill into the back of the end zone.
You're watching the Sports Blog.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block, and we're live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. And we're now joined by senior linebacker Austin Ludwig. Austin, do you want to take care of some special shout-outs here for us?
Yes, sir. I want to shout out my grandma, my aunt watching from Florida. So thank you guys for supporting me.
Yeah, there you go. Can you just start off, too, by telling us a little bit about yourself, both as a player and a student?
Well, I've been playing varsity since sophomore year. I play inside linebacker. I'm senior class president here at Middle Creek. And, well, that's about it.
Right on. That's a full schedule right there. What kind of things do you like about playing linebacker in particular?
I don't know. I like hitting people, so I think that's a lot of fun.
You have to like to hit people.
You kind of get, like, a little bit of everything. Get fumbles. You can recover fumble. You can get a pick. You can score a touchdown on a pick six. You can get to tackle people. It's the best of everything. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So how do you feel about the season so far going into this game on Friday?
I feel like we've been playing pretty good, I guess. But I mean, we have not been nearly playing to our potential. Defense has got to. We've had spurts of greatness, kind of, I guess you could say. But we need to be able to put it all together and come together as that. And I think we'll be all right after that.
Yeah, and what about your future plans after Middle Creek?
If I could have the chance to play college football, that'd be amazing. But if not, I'm usually looking to either go into Duke or UNC, studying pre-med and hopefully becoming a orthopedic surgeon.
Right on. Well, I know it's your turn to get grilled now.
First off, what is your GPA?
4.9.
4.9 GPA.
Wow.
That's impressive.
That's not possible.
It's impressive. When we first got there, one of the we used to talk about make people brag on you. Make people brag on the football program, not on the field, but off the field. So I didn't know this guy, and he's a sophomore, and he kept looking at me, smiling, and be like, Coach, ask me my GPA. Coach, ask me my class rank. Coach, you did. Not every day. So I knew at that time he was either full of it or he's a really bright guy. So once the computer systems got improved through Wake County Public Schools, I was able to look his GPA up. I went, oh, crap, I can't mess with him anymore. He's a pretty smart guy.
If I ever had a 4.9 at any point in high school, I'd still be asking
Yeah,
You're about
I
it.
would too.
Yeah.
I had it. Yeah, 3 semesters together. But what's your favorite part of playing football?
My favorite part of playing football is being with the guys every day. We're all really a family, so it's a lot of fun to go out there every day and work hard with them. They know what you're going through. It's a lot of fun to work with them. So,
Who's your favorite teacher?
favorite teacher? I think that would have to be Mr. Warren. I nominated him for the Coach of the Week a couple weeks ago. So, he's always been he was a great teacher, man. He loved his job, man. Just good. Good teacher.
What is it like now having a younger brother that plays on the team?
It's cool. It's definitely cool. I get to see him a lot. I haven't been seeing him. I haven't been in school with him for God knows how long, since all middle school. So it's cool.
What did your dad tell me was the reason that you were potentially missing practice a year ago?
I couldn't actually tell you. Maybe SGA school.
Well, no, you don't remember your dad emailed me and said that you were sick and that you couldn't make it to practice. You were nauseous. But he replied, "Don't worry, we checked. He's not pregnant." I don't know if you knew that story or not that your dad told me.
It's still not pregnant, right?
Yes.
Hopefully.
That we know. Okay.
Yeah.
But he also comes from great parents that are a lot of fun to talk to and joke around with. I'll never forget his dad telling me that story. What is the relationship? Because right now, basically, we have 3 starting inside backers that you guys all rotate. What is that relationship like between you 3?
I like it a lot, actually. It kind of pushes each other to make get better every day. Because if you're not doing good, you got somebody else right on your back, right there. So we all good friends and everything. So it's a friendly competition. We're always putting each other to get better, and we're good friends. So it's.
Well, out of you 3, which one talks the most junk to each other?
I have to say Marino talks the most junk, but yeah.
I wouldn't agree with that. I would probably said you.
All right.
Out of you 3, which one's the best looking one?
Oh, for sure me. Not even close.
Which one's the most athletic one?
For sure me too. I'll just keep going, right?
Okay.
No, gauntlet's been thrown down there.
He's book smart. He's book smart. Just remember that. But if you could have, what's your favorite football moment to this point?
My favorite football moment, I don't know. I guess that beating Garner in the playoffs last year, I think, was one of the funnest things. Most excited I've ever been. It was a lot of fun. And Garner, actually, this year, that was big game, big stakes. So it was fun to win.
And being on the Middle Creek Coaches Show, of course.
Oh,
right?
of course, and being on the Middle Creek Coaches Show.
So what are a couple things that you guys as a defense need to do on Friday to get a W?
Well, we got to, we always have our assignments we have to execute every week. Changes every week. But as long as we, recognize our formations that we need to as linebackers, and get our checks right and execute, get downhill fast, and make tackles, play as a team, I think we'll be okay. But
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, Austin, and good luck on Friday. You're watching the Middle Creek Coaches Show, the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza. We'll be right back.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And
My favorite's the food, though. Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
all right, enough about the big pizza. Seriously, I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza.
He one block.
And he just shrugs them off.
And he makes another two. And kick is up. That's an absolute drill into the back of the end zone.
You're watching the Sports Blog.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. And I am now joined by head men's soccer coach Edward Wasdell. Coach Wasdell, thank you for joining us tonight, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I love having you on the show. We had you last year, and we had Mr. Warren earlier this year, so it's some of my favorite teachers coming back to join us on the program. So
It's great to still have you involved with the school.
yeah, so can you just start off by telling us where this soccer team is at right now in the season?
All right, right now we're 5-4-3. So decent start. Started out really well, 4-0-3. Then hit a little backslide, but we righted the ship last night with a big win over Athens and look to move forward with another win over Cary tomorrow.
I know this conference is consistently a good soccer conference. Is that the case again this year?
Yes, sir. So I think right now we have 2 of the top 6 teams in the state. Holly Springs at 2, and I think Apex at 6 right now. So it's very competitive.
What kind of things do you try and instill in your players, both mentally and physically for the game?
I think the big focus this year has been kind of the collective belief of the team and believing that we can beat the big teams in our conference, and just realizing if we work hard and we do what we execute in practice and we do it in the game, that we can beat anybody on any night.
So you mentioned the next game coming up here. Can you give us a little more of a preview for that?
Certainly. So Cary High School, where I graduated from, so a little bit of history there.
Yeah, we'll let you slide there. It's okay.
That's all right. And they somewhat ruined our season last year. They beat us on senior night. If we would have won that game, we'd have been hosting a playoff game. It didn't work out, so we owe them big time. They're good. They're well coached, so we'll have to play well.
Yeah, so looking for a little revenge there. We're going to be talking to one of your players coming up after this segment. Can you give us a little background on him?
Absolutely. So Chris Gottberg, wonderful young man, second-year captain for us. Just one of the best leaders I've ever been associated with. Awesome. Not only by example, but just encouraging the boys and really just organizing workouts himself over the summer. And so he's a great player too. So that's a bonus.
Awesome. So what kind of things define this team? Is it a really attacking-oriented team? Is it more of an organized, sit-back team? What kind of?
We're actually new formation this year, trying to be a little more attacking. We're playing 3-5-2.
Okay.
So we're trying to get guys up the field, and we've been scoring some goals, actually a good amount, but we could certainly, if we finished better, we'd have a lot more.
Yeah, I know that with that formation, it's really important to get those wing backs, those guys on the outside really involved. Is that something that's tough to coach at the high school level? Have the guys picked it up well?
They picked it up pretty well. They're a lot more keen to tuck in and defend than to get forward because they don't want to get yelled at. But we've been working on the past few games, really bombing down the side and getting some. We've got some assists and some goals from wing back, so that's what you want in that system.
So now that you're a good ways into the season, are there any goals or expectations that you have for this team?
Yeah, I'm still looking finish at the top of the conference. I think we still have the ability. It's a pretty tight year this year. So, but if we can't finish at the very top, at least top 3 and host our first ever playoff game.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Coach. I'm sure we'll have you back on again next year too.
All right, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you're watching the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza and Cary. We'll be right back.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, great talking to you.
Yeah.
He one block.
And he just shrugs them off.
And he makes another 2. And kick is up. That's an absolute drill into the back of the end zone.
You're watching the Sports Blog.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And
My favorite's the food, though. Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
all right, enough about the big pizza. Seriously. I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. And I am now joined by senior midfielder Chris Gottberg. Chris, thank you for joining us tonight, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. You're a little bit luckier than the football players. You don't have to. Wasdale didn't stick around to grill you up here, so. And I don't know if you messed up in practice or in the game, so I can't really grill you on that. But Can you just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, both on and off the field?
On the field, I'm a center defensive mid. I hold in front of the defense. In school, I'm a honor roll student. I have a 4.8 GPA. I'm on the board for Math Honor Society, and I'm the president of the Environmental Club.
Awesome. Cumulative GPA tonight is pretty high. It's awesome. So as a defensive midfielder, as a holding midfielder, mixing up the variety of passes, whether you're starting the attack with a short, simple pass or you're kind of bombing it long, is kind of a tough choice, right? Or is it more? Is it pretty cut and dry?
It depends a little bit. Sometimes you have to see like who's open on the field. Sometimes you want to play with center attacking mids. Sometimes you want to play with wingers and then your strikers. And it all depends on what you see on the field. So you just go by how it's going.
So Coach Wasdell talked about the new formation a little bit. How have you adjusted to that? And how do you like it?
I like the formation a lot. It provides a lot of attacking opportunities. We've created a lot of chances. We could finish a little more opportunities, but that'll come with time, and we definitely have been scoring goals, and so far it's worked.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. I looking at the box score, some of your last games was 7-6, and there's some goals being put out on the scoreboard there. When did you know that soccer was your passion?
I was playing soccer when I was 4. And then I was also playing baseball, and then around 7, it was a defining moment when I could use my speed a little bit better in soccer and instead of baseball. And then I also started to enjoy the team aspect, where you can do more as a team rather than a single sport like baseball in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any goals for yourself or for the team for the rest of the season here?
For the goals for the team, it's absolutely make playoffs and go as far as we can. We have a great squad this year. We definitely have the potential to go very far, even in the playoffs, I believe, and especially winning conference this year. The goals for the team is just absolutely grow as a team also in a sense, rather than focus on individual skills.
Yeah, right on. Could you talk a little bit about your plans for the future here after Middle Creek?
My plans for the future is I still have the potential to play college and soccer, but I also hope to get a good education at a school, and I definitely, if I don't play college at a school, I'll definitely want to play a club or something.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, Chris. You're watching the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. We'll be right back.
One block, and he just shrugs them off, and he makes another 2. And kick is up. That's an absolute drill into the back of the end zone.
You're watching the Sports Block.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And
My favorite's the food, though. Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
all right, enough about the big pizza. Seriously. I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. And we are now joined by the Assistant Program Director for 99.9 The Fan, as well as correspondent for high school OT, James Alverson. James, thank you for joining us tonight, sir.
Glad to be here, guys.
Yeah. Could you just start off by telling us a little bit about what your job entails at 99.9 and then what you do with high school OT?
Well, we've got 3 sports radio stations with 99.9 The Fan, and my job is to supervise, schedule, program, make sure all the automation works like it's supposed to. All of our part-time board operators, I'm their direct supervisor. I train them, hire them, make sure they know what they're doing, and that's kind of my main job. And then the nice little cool thing that I get to do is high school OT and getting to hang out with high school kids and be able to go cover games. We were actually there Friday night. We did the game of the week with Middle Creek and Wakefield, great football game. So I get to do 17 football games or so a year and about 14, 15 basketball games, and we have a great time. I do the power rankings at highschoolot.com, which everybody loves to hate. But those have actually worked out pretty well, and so that's just some stuff that I enjoy doing in the high school sports. I mean, I just love getting to see kids and being able to kind of talk with them, interact, and kind of see what goes on in their world, and just kind of enjoy telling the good stories.
Yeah, absolutely. So after seeing this team play on Friday, what are your thoughts on Middle Creek?
Very impressive. When I look at teams around the area, a couple of things that I like to look at. I like to look at stability in the coaching ranks. I like to look at offensive, defensive lines. How do those look? And then you look at skill players. And I think that Middle Creek's very well versed in all of those areas. I really like what Coach Castellano and the guys have done as far as installing their system. And I think the guys know it, they understand it, and it shows up on Friday nights. And when you look at the offensive line and the defensive line play, they're fast, they're physical. They do a lot of different stunts, and the guys know where they're supposed to be. They play good gap, responsible defense on the defensive side. So I'm really impressed with what I've seen, and the skill positions. The receiving core, maybe a step back from last year, but that was so good last year. Right, yeah. That's really saying a lot, and it's still pretty good in my estimation from what I saw this Friday night.
Yeah. So. You mentioned you do the power rankings. So where do you think Middle Creek stacks up in terms of the area and the state even?
Well, right now, what I would tell you with the power rankings is it starts from scratch every year. There is a margin of victory component in there, and over the course of the season, as you get to the end of the year, some of the tougher games that you play, those teams will start to pick up wins, and that'll boost your ranking. So right. With the power ranking, I'd expect you guys to start out maybe a touch lower than I would put you myself, just by the way the formula works. But as the season progresses, I expect for you guys to run up there pretty well. I definitely will be in the top 10 in the state in the power rankings if everything continues to go like it is. And then with what we see, the poll that we do, and I put my poll vote in every week, I've got you guys in the top 4 right now. And that's, top 4 in the area. That's Southern Durham. That's Richmond County, that's Wake Forest, and you guys are right there. So those are the 4 teams, and I think that when you look at the triangle in particular, I think there's probably 4 teams or so that have kind of separated themselves from the field, and really 3, and that's Middle Creek, Wake Forest, and Southern Durham, and those teams are a little bit of a step ahead of everybody else right now.
Yeah. So do you foresee another Wake Forest, Middle Creek postseason clash? What do you think?
Very well could happen. I mean, Wake Forest is a machine, and you know that just from looking at what they did last year. Offensively, yeah, they run the wing tee. Yeah, it's an old, boring system, and a lot of people don't like to see a wing tee when they go watch it on Friday night. But you know what? They win a lot of football games with it. Yeah. And defensively, they're going to be the team to beat in the Cap 8. I'm not sure. They may get 1 loss or so. In which case, I think Middle Creek's probably going to end up with the top seed in the East. But
Whoa, there's a long way to go.
There's a long way to go. See, look at that.
At this point last year, we were 2-2.
Yeah.
And not very smart coaches and not very good players. And there's teams
that
that were 4-0 and all that stuff who ended up 5 or 6 wins. There's a long way to go before that.
There's a lot of football to be played. And when you look at the whole season, the body of work, that's what I like to do towards the end of the year. And that's what I designed the power rankings to do, is to look at the whole body of work and to kind of average a game performance for a team. And so when I designed the formula, that's something I wanted to keep in mind and kind of where people would finish out. And actually, the last 2 seasons, when you compare teams that played head-to-head in the playoffs based on the last week of the power rankings, they're doing better than 85% predicted in the winner. So, when I'm saying that you're going to be in the top 10 in that power rankings at the end of the year, if you continue to do what you guys are doing right now, that's pretty good.
Continue to do it. No guarantee there.
You got to continue.
He's a coach. He doesn't like talking about
he's never going to stop coaching.
Future stuff. Yeah.
So what was your assessment after previous comments? We'll leave them aside. What was your assessment of Mr. Grizel after Friday?
Very impressed. And what I'll say about Brant, and to be fair to me, I don't see every team every week. I don't look at game film. I don't get it sent to me from coaches or anything like that. So what I see is what I see in a game. And the only game that we covered, you guys, with Brant at the quarterback spot was against Wake Forest. And he had a lot of pressure that night. A lot of pressure in his lap that night, and so he was getting rid of the ball very quickly. So I didn't see him make a lot of throws downfield, and that's where those comments last year came from. Friday night, had a lot of time, some time, and he was able to deliver some great throws down the field. I know Coach Williams was talking about one, I think you termed it big boy throw, and I stole it and used it on my show on Saturday morning because the throw with Brant rolling to his right and having to get his shoulders around and get that football down the field was just a beautiful throw. And there's not a lot of quarterbacks in the area that can make that throw. And I think that that's something to be said for a guy that knows the fundamentals and works the fundamentals well, and has worked so hard in understanding the offense, and gets a lot of praise from the coaching staff. I know that. And so if the coaches speak highly of somebody, I typically pay attention. And from what I saw, he's got a bright future.
Ask you another question. What's the best high school game you've ever covered?
Ooh.
I know there's probably one that sticks out in your mind that when you're talking to your buddies, it's the one you brag about seeing.
Man, there have been some really, really great football games the past just 2 years that I can remember. But probably I can remember a couple years ago, second round of the state playoffs, it was Panther Creek and Fuquay. Panther Creek came from behind and went to OT with them and won the game. It was a great football game, great comeback. And that was in the run that Panther Creek made to the Eastern Regional Finals that year. And probably the one that sticks out in my mind most would be the Millbrook and Wake Forest game from last year. I was able to do that game 4 overtimes.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, there were knockout punches delivered both ways in that game in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. And it was a heavyweight fight in every sense of the word. So, and it really broke my heart to watch a kid that's as talented as Jarrett Servite, a kicker for Millbrook, miss the field goal in the third overtime, and he just tried to kill it. And you could tell he just tried to kill it and yanked it to the left. Would have won the football game, and then they go out there, and, of course, Wake Forest makes the plays they need to in the fourth overtime to win it. It was a great football game. My wife hates football. She was my fiance at the time, but she does not like football. And for some reason, I got her, talked her into going to that football game. And even Sarah was like she was on the edge of her seat watching this game, and just was really into it and enjoyed it.
Cool. Awesome. So where are you going to be this Friday?
Friday night, we're going to be at Leesville Road. We've got a little bit of a contract with the Cap 8 with 99.9 The Fan. We've got a little contract where we got to cover every team in the league at least once. We'll go see Leesville and Heritage this week at Leesville, and should be an interesting game. Leesville with some new coaches. I think they're trying to work out some kinks, and it's a little bit of a rebuilding year for them. But Heritage, they look like they've really done a good job putting that program together under Coach McGeorge, and I've really enjoyed getting to know him. They've got a good young quarterback, Blake Walters. I wouldn't put him in the air with Brant Grizzell or any of those guys, but he's solid, a high school quarterback, does some good things with the football. So I'm interested to see the Huskies this year.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, James. I hopefully we'll see you back at Middle Creek.
Come on now, Ryan. You know I'm going to have to turn the tables on you and actually ask you a question. You've been asking all the questions
up
here.
Sure, go ahead. Shoot.
So
anything.
Sports Block, what made you start the Sports Block? I gotta get a good story from you out of that.
So we were sitting in Maldonado's class, listening to another student broadcast at the time, me and my friend Ryan Grover, and just talking about it. Maldonado said, well, if you can do it better, why don't you go do it? And so we had a playoff basketball game that night. So we packed up the equipment that we had and went down to Broughton and just set up in a corner and broadcasted the game, and we loved every minute of it. And so after that, we kept doing it, and then it's grown a ton into what it is now. So
you ever see it getting to this point?
No,
Seriously.
no. I mean, not to the credit of the department. That's I had no idea they would take off with it and run with it so far, and that's why I'm still involved with it. Is because I'm so proud of how far they've come with it.
Yeah, well, it's a great thing that you guys have done here with the Sports Block, and I know it's something that not a lot of high schools have. So definitely appreciate it and take the opportunities to get better at the craft, definitely. And that's a cool thing that you guys are able to do at Middle Creek.
Yeah, I appreciate you personally being on here, too. I know I put you on the spot the other night to do this, but, He's doing the interview, not you. Quit asking him
I'm
questions.
just turning
right?
the table on him real quick. How about that?
I'd rather him ask me questions than you.
Thanks. I don't. Go ahead.
All right. Well, thanks again, James, for joining us. You're watching the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is a Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza. We'll be right back.
He one block, and he just shrugs them off, and he makes another two. And kick is up. That's an absolute thrill into the back of the end zone.
You're watching the Sports Blog.
Wrap it up, everybody.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. And we are going into our final segment of the night here with head coach Mike Castellano. Coach, Apex, first game of the conference, Hall of Fame game. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than that. So what are we expecting on Friday?
They're a good football team. They're doing a great job with offense. Coach Orban used to be the head coach at Holly Springs, is now the offensive coordinator at Apex. So they're running a lot of the same offense, which in my view is the hardest one we face all year to stop. So, and on the defensive side of the ball, offensive coaches have talked about some of the playmakers they have and some of the D linemen they have. So, it's going to be a good football game.
Awesome. Well, it's another home game too. So the Creek Crazies will be out in full force. Do you have anything to say about the support from them so far?
We love the Creek Crazies. It's been a lot of fun with those guys. They're exciting. I always find out after the game something new and cool that happened. But, we enjoy them being there. And this week, Coach Thompson said, I don't want to alarm you. I know it's a big game, but I think it's youth band night, youth cheerleading night. It's Hall of Fame night. And obviously we've got, Sean Horton with us and that stuff as well. So there's going to be a lot of things going on there. So hopefully it's a good crowd.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us as always, Coach, and thank you for flying co-pilot there with me for a little while.
Hey, it's always fun getting to go up here and tell some bad jokes, and I do want to appreciate James coming out here and doing this for us. It's kind of neat to have different people out here and then get their point of view and get to know them a little bit better, and obviously the Sports Block people for always being here and covering us as well. And Mr. Maldonado is a guy that's mentioned earlier, and he's often overlooked, but he's a big part of this show as well. So we appreciate all those guys.
Yeah, definitely. We thank you for joining us tonight, everyone. This is the Middle Creek Coaches Show. It's the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. Signing off.